So this is a new series where I share my thoughts on movies and shows that I never would have gotten around to with my main uploads. My big videos usually take up all my time, which means I miss a lot of topical stuff. So this series would be my way of hitting up that content. And by the way, in no way is this series going to replace my main uploads for the week. If anything, it's just icing on the cake. Like the cake is my main upload, and the icing is this series. And who doesn't like cake?
Careful, SpongeBob! Careful, SpongeBob! SpongeBob, careful!
Okay, so let's talk about How to Train Your Dragon 3. This is easily the greatest franchise from DreamWorks. I like Kung Fu Panda, I like Shrek, but How to Train Your Dragon is the best they have to offer. Now, it's not perfect, but when it's good, it is really good. The test flight sequence from the first movie is one of my favorite animated scenes ever. So here we are, 10 years after the first movie, with the conclusion of the trilogy. Which is funny, because I don't think anybody really knew if this would be a trilogy or not. Here's a quick recap for those who don't remember the story. The first movie is about Hiccup. He belongs to a society of Vikings who constantly battle dragons. Hiccup himself is a dorky outcast who desperately wants to fit in, but instead finds himself befriending a dragon named Toothless. Eventually, Hiccup convinces the leader of his people, his father, that dragons aren't monsters, and that humans can live alongside them peacefully. Overall, it's a story of breaking the norm and trying new things. Alright, the second movie. The Vikings are getting along with the dragons, but other people from outside the world are trying to enslave them. Hiccup and his friends put a stop to this. Also, we gain a mom, but we lose a dad. And that brings us to the final movie. Here's the synopsis. Hiccup and his people continue to grow closer to the dragons. But despite their efforts from the second movie, there are still more people out in the world who are trying to kill or enslave the dragons. Hiccup comes to the realization that he has to do something about this, once and for all. Also, Toothless wants to get laid. Okay, so I got a couple of notes here to break things down. Let's talk about the animation. It is absolutely gorgeous. The sky, the water, the flying sequences, the textures. They're all stunning. Funny enough, the thing that stood out to me the most was the sand. And I guess the epic lair of the hidden dragons is kind of cool. But oh my god, have you ever seen such good-looking sand before? Oh, and some of these dragons have really cool designs. There's like a moose one, some kind of beetle dragon, and then there's these like evil scorpion dragons that have really cool designs with their claws and their tails. They got really creative with this movie. Let's talk about the story. I thought it was okay. The theme is great, which is letting go of those that you love in order to protect them, but I felt that the story stumbled quite a bit. A big part of this is due to how many characters there are. Like, we got all of these side stories about these comic relief characters. This one guy is obsessed about having a beard, his sister is obsessed about having a boyfriend, and then this guy wants to have sex with Hiccup's mom. I'm not even exaggerating. It is seriously a subplot in this movie. But the only thing I really care about in the movie is the story between Toothless and Hiccup. What's gonna happen to them? Now, the movie ultimately does deliver on this plot, and I personally found it satisfying. It was a good way to conclude the trilogy. Alright, so let's talk about the characters. I already mentioned that I don't really care for Hiccup's friends. They really just slow things down in this movie. Astrid was fine. There was even a subplot about her and Hiccup having to get married, and that if they do get married, they would be better leaders for their people. Something like that, I don't know. If anything, I think it served as a parallel between Hiccup and Toothless, and how Hiccup has Astrid and Toothless has White Toothless. There's something later on in the movie that confuses me about their species. Like, it's a spoiler if I say it now. Watch the movie and you'll see for yourself. All that really matters, though, is that Toothless found another Night Fury, in a way. He found a girl, and he wants to, get with her, but he's stuck with Hiccup. So what does he do? Does he stay with his friend, or does he go after the girl?
Oh my god, he's not the only one.
She's a light fury.
Okay, so let's talk about the villain. Yeah, there's a villain in this movie. So the second movie had a villain, which was some guy trying to capture the dragons and take them over. He was just some big old lug who spins a spear and screams. Cool. This time we got a guy who's a bit more sophisticated and actually hunts dragons, as in he kills them. Apparently, this is the guy who wiped out the Night Furies, and now he's after Toothless. I was kind of hoping that this villain would have more going on in this movie, but they never really delivered on that. No real big motivation outside of, hey, I hate dragons and I want to make the world safer for humans. I wish they would have built on that second part, but they never really did. He was just evil guy, and that's it. If only they focused more on the villain instead of the subplot of this guy getting with Hiccup's mom. I still can't get over that. It was in the movie. And finally, the music. What can I say? It was outstanding. The How to Train Your Dragon franchise has always had a great musical number to go with it. Like all of this music that perfectly accompanies the characters and the scenes and the animation. They work off of each other perfectly. So overall, I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. The reason being that the story was lacking here and there, and it dragged on a bit. But whenever it picked up, it really picked up, and was very satisfying to watch. Honestly, you should see this movie for the animation alone. The sequences in the sky are some of the best ever made. And I really do think that this movie was a good finale for the overall trilogy. So let me know what you all think in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.